Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. So in this video we will see what are props in reactjs. So if I want to transfer the data from one component to another component, we use props. Okay, for better understanding, let's just create two components. In the component folder only, I'll create one component by the name a.js and another component I will name it as b.js. Remember, the first letter of the component has to be capital, right? Now I'll just remove these components. Okay, now in the A component I'll write RFCE. Similarly for B component also I'll write the same thing. Save this one and I will save this one also. Okay, now what I want is I'll copy the code from the bootstrap itself. I go on the bootstrap site. I'll simply write bootstrap 4. I'll go on this introduction site. In this, I'll go for the components. In the components, I'll search for a card. This one. So, one second. So let's say I want to display this kind of structure. I'll simply copy this code from here, and then in the code, I'll go inside the B component and I'll remove this thing from here and I'll paste this code here. Okay, I'll just put this one so that we can remove the error. Now you can see there are three types of data. The first is the title. Okay, let me just show it in the bootstrap itself. So we have three datas. The first is this title. Next we have this description, and the next is the text on the button. So now what I want is I want to transfer these three datas from A component to B component. Okay, what I will do is I'll just remove these things from here. Now I want to pass the data for this from A component to B component. Firstly, I will import the B component here so that I can pass the data. I'll simply write B. So I'm getting the suggestion here. I'll import it. Okay, now if I want to transfer the data from A to B, I'll pass it in the attributes. The first attribute that I want to pass is the title. Title will be, let's say, card title. Okay, second argument I want to pass as description. Description, okay, equals to card description. Okay, next I want to pass the next is we have the text of the button. Okay, I'll just simply pass text equals to card text. Okay, now I'm passing these three attributes from A component to B component. I'll save this file. Okay, now in the B component, if I want to fetch that data, I'll use props. This is how props comes into existence. I'll simply write here props. Okay, now this props will have, okay, let me just remove it. We'll simply write the props. So now this props will contain all this data that we have shared from the A component to B component. To fetch its value, we'll simply write it like this. For the first thing, we have the title. We'll write props dot title. Okay, we'll write title. Next we have, let me copy this out. Next we have description, and the next is text. We'll paste it here. Next we'll paste it here. I'll remove this and write description. The next is text. Okay, now I will save this. So now I have passed the data from A component to B component. To check out its output, we'll simply go on the app.js and I'll remove this thing for now, and I'll simply write the A component, import the A component, because ultimately the final output will come from the app.js page only. I'll save this. Okay, and now I'll go back to the output and see what is the final output. It's loading. It's showing some error. Okay, the style property error we are getting. So we'll go inside the b.js. Yes, as I've told in the last lecture also, we have to import the inline CSS as JavaScript object. So now we'll just put it as the key and the value pairs. Now I will save it, and now if I go back to the browser, I'll refresh it. So we have successfully fetched the data. We are getting a card itself. Okay, so if I want to, let's say, get 5 more cards, what I will do, I'll simply just copy this one line here, okay, and I will simply paste it like this. Okay, so I've just pasted for 5 times. It is showing error because we have to wrap them in a single fragment. So I'll just cut this out, Control X, then I'll paste it here. Okay, so now if I save this and get back to the browser and refresh the page, so you can see with the help of just this one line, we are able to get 5 different cards for this as a output. So if you can imagine, if we have to do this thing using normal HTML, CSS and JavaScript, it would have been very tedious task. But using this props and the components thing, we are just able to create this layout for the 5 times with the help of just this 5 lines. Okay, so it's very helpful. That is why mostly developers, they prefer using the reactjs because of the functionality of components. Okay, so now we have seen that what are props and how we can transfer the data from one file to another, right? So the next topic comes, that is prop types. So what are prop types? Before using the prop types, I'll just simply import the prop types using the abbreviation IMPT. Okay, I'll use this. You can see we imported this prop types from the prop types library. Okay, now in this b.js component, that is the child component, I will write like this. The name of the component, that is b.prop types. I'll write here prop types. One second, prop types equals to, will create an object of the prop types. Okay, so what I mean by prop types is, let's say we have here 3 different fields, the title, description and text. So what I want is, I'm going to set the type of these attributes, so that for title I just want to accept a string only. That means if the parent, the a.js, will send me a number for this title, then I will be getting an error. So for that, I'm just giving the prop types before only, so that the parent component should send the matched value itself. Okay, if the string is written, then the parent should return a string only, and if number is returned, then you have to return a number itself. Okay, so what I'll write here, I'll write the prop types dot, one second, firstly I have to write the name of the field, that is title here. So I'll write title colon prop types dot string. Okay, so similarly I'll write for description and text also, right? One second. I'll remove this title and I'll write here description, and the next is text. We'll put a comma here because it's an object. Okay, so now we have successfully written the prop types for this, right, for this B component. Now the next thing is default props. That is also very important. For this, I'll simply again write the B component dot default props. What is meant by default props? It means that, let's say for this title, the parent component forgot to send some value. Then for that, we need to have certain default value so that it does not display as vacant. So let's say I'm again going to give the 3 fields. The first is the title. For title, I want to give it as let's say by default I'm giving card title. Okay, so this way you can set the default values for all the fields. For now I'm just giving for the title. So this is what prop types are and default props. Okay, so yeah, that's all for this video. in this video we have seen how we can transfer the data from one component to another component, how we can create prop types for all the fields of our component, and how we can set the default values for that props. Okay, so that's all for today, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.